Hi kindergartners! Welcome back to another episode of Stay at Home Storytime. It's been a little while since we read some of our favorite fairy tales. At the beginning of the year, we talked about classic fairy tales. Stories that most of us had heard before, like Cinderella, Snow White, The Princess and the Pea, Rapunzel. And then we got to read some new versions of those same stories that come from different cultures, because a lot of fairy tales that have been around for a long time exist in lots of different cultures, but the stories are slightly different, or the characters are slightly different, to really fit in with the culture where that story was written. So we got to look at more than one version of Rapunzel, and more than one version of Snow White, and more than one version of the Three Little Pigs. And we even got to look at a cool version of the 12 Dancing Princesses, and another version that was all about the 12 Dancing Knight brothers who lived in Harlem. So fairy tales are great stories that you can then take and make your own using kind of the same story structure. Today, we're going to read one of my favorite fairy tales called Prince and Knight. This is an example of a classic story that someone took and the author decided to make it their own, to talk about things that they felt like were really, really important for people to read about. Let's see what happens. Prince and Knight, written by Daniel Haack and illustrated by Steve Lewis. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far from here, there lived a charming prince who was handsome and sincere. His parents knew that soon it would be time he took the throne. But with a kingdom so grand, the prince could not rule alone. So the three of them set out and traveled far and wide on a quest to find the prince a kind and worthy bride. This reminds me of which fairy tale we read. Oh, Cinderella. In the story of Cinderella, there was a prince who was looking for a bride, who at the end of that story ended up being Cinderella. Let's find out if this prince ends up looking for Cinderella, or maybe someone different. The prince met many ladies, and he made them all swoon. But it was soon clear that he was singing a different tune. Did he find anyone that he felt like he could fall in love with? Nope, not yet, and that's okay. Thank you, he told his parents. I appreciate that you tried, but I'm looking for something different in a partner by my side. Prince looks sad. He just wants a partner to help him rule the kingdom. But while the royals were away, their land faced quite a scare from a dragon fast approaching, breathing fire everywhere. All the villagers ran in fear. Even the soldiers hid and fled. This vicious beast is far too great. We must retreat or we'll be dead. Oh no, look at that scary dragon. Oh. The prince heard the dreadful news, and he raced home with all his might. To protect his precious realm, the prince was ready for a fight. There he goes, running through the forest, home to save his kingdom. Alas, before you fear, our prince had to face the beast alone. I mean, can you imagine fighting this dragon all by yourself? That sounds really scary. That dragon's like gigantic, ginormous. Like its face is bigger than my whole body. Along on horseback came a knight, cloaked in armor that brightly shone. Okay, so here's our prince. He's ready to defend his kingdom against the scary dragon. Look how tiny he is compared to that dragon. Oh, but look who comes to help save the day. A knight in shining armor. The dragon charged upon our heroes, thinking it had already won. But the knight had a bold idea. He raised his shield to face the sun. The glare hit the shining metal, blinding the dragon's fiery eyes. But it was what the prince did next that really caught it by surprise. There we go. That knight is getting smart. He's going to make the dragon not be able to see. Let's see what the prince does. The prince had climbed atop the dragon and tied a rope around its head. He wrapped the cord around the neck and down the body like a thread. It looks like maybe he's going to be able to capture that dragon after all. The plan had worked. The dragon was caught. Its body was tied and bound, but the prince up high had lost his grip, and he was falling to the ground. Oh no! Somebody save the prince! The knight below jumped on his horse, and they began to race. The prince was caught and free from harm, held in the knight's embrace. The knight in shining armor saved the prince. Oh, that's so exciting. I was nervous for a second that the prince was going to have caught the dragon and then fallen. Uh-oh. You saved my life, and you saved mine, they said to one another. And in a flash to each it felt, aww, there simply was no other. Well, I guess nothing like fighting a dragon to make someone fall in love. The knight took off his helmet to reveal his handsome face. And as they gazed into each other's eyes, their hearts began to race. Uh-oh, what do you think's gonna happen? As the villagers returned, it became clear to those around that the prince's one true love had at last been surely found. Aww, it looks like they're Twitter-pated. The king and queen had come back too and were overwhelmed with joy. We have finally found someone who is perfect for our boy. Oh, look at how happy the king and queen are. And on the two men's wedding day, the air filled with cheer and laughter, for the prince and his shining knight would live happily ever after. The end. So in this book, we started off with a fairy tale that was similar to other ones that we had heard before, but the author made a little twist to make it feel like it represented who they were. Instead of the prince finding a bride, the prince found a knight in shining armor that he fell in love with. And they got to live happily ever after. All right, until next time, bye!